Thank you so much for coming here today. My name is Daniela Claypool, and I'm going to talk to you about celiac disease. So let's go ahead and get started. Gluten-free, not just a fad. We all know about fad diets. The South Beach diet, the cabbage soup diet, they all promote a healthy living, weight loss, and more energy. So I'm sure you've heard of the gluten-free diet. Well, not everyone who follows the gluten-free diet is just doing it as a diet just to lose weight or have more energy. They need to, and that's because they have celiac disease. Meet Evan. Evan is a 4-year-old, happy, rambunctious, full of energy and life little boy. And he has celiac disease. So he must follow this gluten-free diet. But he was not always like this. His first year of life, he was very sick, miserable. He cried all the time. He had chronic diarrhea. And it was very difficult for him to grow. So what is celiac disease? To understand celiac a little bit better, what is gluten? Gluten is a protein that is found in wheat, barley, and rye, which is found in almost everything: breads, cookies, pastas. It's even found in salad dressings and some spice mixes. Mostly processed foods. So what gluten does in a person with celiac? When they consume gluten, it triggers an autoimmune response that attacks the microvilli that lines your small intestine. And according to celiac.org, it attacks the microvilli, and what the microvilli does, it helps absorb the nutrients in your body. And when the microvilli is damaged by the gluten, as you can see here, it's smoothed out and your body is not able to absorb those nutrients that you need. So let's think of two different types of carpet. We have a shag carpet, which has very long fibers, and we have a Berber carpet that has very short fibers. The shag carpet represents the healthy small intestine, and the Berber carpet represents a small intestine of someone with celiac disease. So the shag carpet can pull in all those nutrients, but the Berber carpet cannot. It doesn't have anything to grab onto. And it is hereditary. So anyone with celiac disease, their first degree relative is either a sibling, a parent, or even a child. They have a 1 in 10 chance of developing the disease. So again, this is just another picture of what a normal intestine looks like. You can see the microvilli lining the normal intestine, and then a celiac intestine. It doesn't have those ridges. So what are the symptoms and how do we diagnose this? Unfortunately, the symptoms of celiac disease are very common symptoms. They could, for many different diseases and illnesses.
I'm hungry.
Small children under 2 years of age and younger, they can have chronic diarrhea, fatigue, and weight loss. And anyone of the age of 2 and up can experience constipation, weight loss, a short stature, delayed puberty, and even neurological disorders such as ADHD and learning disabilities. And in order for us to test this, there are 2 different types of blood tests. There's the serology tests, which tests for antibodies in the blood, and it looks for elevated levels of certain antibody protein and that indicates an immune response to gluten. You can also have genetic testing done, and that can just rule out celiac disease. If either one of those tests indicate a person does have celiac disease, you can go ahead and do a biopsy of the small intestine. That's just a little sample of the small intestine, and that's to test and check to see how much damage has been done to those microvilli. So what is the treatment? How do we treat this? Unfortunately, there is no cure for celiac disease. And the only treatment is to avoid consuming foods that contain gluten. Now, while there isn't a cure for celiac disease, a person who does have the disease, if they follow a strict gluten-free diet, the levels of antibodies in their blood can level out, so they won't be elevated. And that actually was the case with Evan. He was on a strict gluten-free diet for 2 years. His levels at 12 months were elevated, and when we tested him again, they were normalized. But that doesn't mean that the disease has been reversed or that he's been cured. The symptoms do return if you do not follow a strict diet. So the chronic diarrhea, the weight loss, the malabsorption, those are very common. But it's also very difficult to follow a gluten-free diet because gluten hides in everything. It is in everything. So it's really helpful for someone. You have to read labels, but there's also phone apps. We use a Get Well app, and what that does, you just take a product, scan the barcode, and it lets you know if there is any gluten hiding in that product. Products like Rice Krispie treats. Rice Krispie treats, or Rice Krispies, those are made out of rice. But they are produced in a factory or a facility that also produces wheat products. So they are not safe for someone with celiac disease because contamination is just as dangerous as the gluten actually being in the product itself. So for Evan, eating gluten-free is not just a fad. He has to follow this for the rest of his life, this diet for the rest of his life, in order for him to remain healthy and grow and be strong. But it is something that he is going to have to deal with, and I just want to thank all of you for coming here today and listening, and I hope everyone learned something about celiac disease. And if you have any questions, just let me know.